Hello and welcome to Digital Woodcarver. My name is Laney Shaughnessy, and tonight I am joined by Burl Tishner with Burl Tishner, the owner of the company, and one of our customers who owns a Digital Woodcarver. And we are going to be talking to you about Digital Woodcarver, CNCs, and getting the family involved. So first of all, bring the guest onto a screen here. And down below at the bottom of the screen, that is Tim Manival and his son, Dylan. Tim, how are you doing this evening?
Pretty good. How are you doing tonight?
Doing very well. And up in our top right corner on your screen is Burl Tishner, the owner of Digital Woodcarver, the one that makes this all possible by creating the machines that we all use and love. How you doing tonight, Burl?
Oh, I'm doing great. I love tonight's topic. I have a family myself. Tim, just a little bit of advice. Don't blink. They'll grow up on you. So, but I have family. Anytime that you have the opportunity to take something and can blend, your like interest and get your family involved, that is a win-win. So I absolutely love tonight's topic, and glad that it come up. I forget who was, Jake or Laney, or we were in our marketing meeting and we talked about this, and it's all on board. And we have, I know Tim is one we brought on guest, but there is many, many more that have different relationships, father, sons, husband and wife, all kinds of relationships. And I love tonight's topic on that.
Yeah, absolutely. And Burl, I consider, and tell me if I'm wrong, but I consider Digital Woodcarver very much a family company. Family-orientated company, would I say, because we have outside employees, including myself. I'm an outside employee. I'm like that stepson that you just can't get rid of. But you have Miss Beth, your wife, lovely wife. She's involved with the business, and Brian, your oldest, he gets involved with the business on a part-time basis and things. And but pretty much, aside from the business, you're very family-oriented. Guys, are very tight knit. You do things together, your services, your trips, and things like that. So I've always considered Digital Woodcarver a very family oriented company. And would that be a right classification?
It certainly is. And anybody that's, as far as owner wise, that's been on our Facebook, everybody treats each other like good family. We all have those family members we may push off and stuff, but we're not talking about those tonight. We're talking about the ones that we love to be around. And yes, I do. Right. I think a family, anytime that you can bring them together like that and do projects. My wife and I, honestly, we kind of started. This is how we started. Before I was selling machines, or at the first, we would do crafts together. She would create or come up with the ideas. I would carve them out and she would paint them and do some craft shows. So that's really how we started. We even got our kids involved. I made my kids a lot of projects. And I remember there was a time we made a bunch of these like horse little barns that the lid would come up and kids would play with the horses and stuff like that, or animals on that. So we did a group family project. But that's been many, many years ago. So
absolutely. Now, go ahead. No,
I was just going to say that before we get too far, I will tell everybody that I am going to cut it short tonight. We'll answer a few more, talk a little more, and then I am cutting it short. I apologize on that. I love tonight's topic, but if you see Laney put me out of the picture and I don't come back, I appreciate you excusing me on that. But the family on this is just phenomenal.
Absolutely. And Burl's teaching classes on Wednesday, so he's got a class to teach and everything, so he will be departing from us early, and Tim and I are going to have a conversation. We're going to answer some questions. But Tim, turning over to you. Now, you own a Digital Woodcarver and you make some beautiful things. But that's not your full-time business. Is that a correct statement?
Correct. I've been in manufacturing for about 15 years after doing 12 years active duty in the Army. And so as a kind of a manager, I'm familiar with manufacturing, but I'm not a CNC expert. And so I was able to utilize my general knowledge of this and then get tied in with digital wood carver. And we've had a blast over the last year and a half or so, manufacturing parts as a family.
Absolutely. And you were nice enough to share a picture with me of you and your son Dylan and your daughter Riley holding some of the projects you make, and your flags. We have a little booklet that you helped or participated in on how to start a business with a CNC, and you gave us some feedback and everything. And we actually use a picture of your son Riley with a flag and everything. Are flags kind of one of the your most popular projects you make, or do you have a project that really kind of kicks off for you when it comes to the items that you?
I would say flags are kind of like our core business, and then we play with everything else as we go from there. Originally how we got into this was Dylan wanted to get some money, right? They're kids and they want to spend on their games and everything they want to do. And we wanted to find a way to help him earn some money. So we started by making a handful of flags by hand, and realized that is a really difficult thing to do and much easier to do all those stars. And the quality is much better with the CNC. And so we traditionally offer 3 or 4 standard size flags and wavy flags and a bunch of other units like that. And that's something that we almost always have on standby, and we sell it to everybody. That one there by the front door, the lawn guy bought one, and the guy who does the water purifier, he bought one, and the UPS guy rang the doorbell and he bought one. They just kind of sell themselves if you have good quality.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. For me, I actually started off as a customer as well. I'm a digital wood carver customer first and foremost. It wasn't until about 6 months in of owning the machine that I actually started working with Burl, helping with answer questions for the customers, and then helping with sales and training and stuff. And my signs, my machine would run Monday through Friday, and everything that I carved during the week and made during the week, I would sell at the farmers market on Saturday in our local town and the flea market on Sunday. And word of mouth, from the projects that they saw at the booths and all, that word would spread. And I would start getting calls and things saying, hey, I heard you make these really cool signs. I saw one at my friend's house. And just like with the one hanging by your door, people see it, it's like, oh, man, cool. Could you make me one? And it just spreads. Word of mouth is our best, advertising in a lot of ways and things.
When I first got it, I didn't have the laser add-on. And one of the critical things was getting the laser so I could etch the back of the flag so they could just turn it over and be like, oh, yeah, this is their webpage and here's how to contact them. For the most part, that's mostly what I use the laser for, just because I haven't had time to really delve into it. But, keeping our logo on everything so that, it sells itself.
Absolutely. I used to use a branding iron that, for the back of my projects, or, an inconspicuous place and things. And then I eventually got the 6-watt laser, and now I can laser engrave a little bit more information than just my company logo. They can contact me and stuff like that as well. But the laser is a pretty cool accessory to be able to add things on. Now, understand that for the most part, Dylan gets involved with you a little bit, whether it comes to helping with finishing up projects or even doing some of the carvings on your stars and stuff. Is that true?
Correct. On the stars, obviously that's pretty set up. But it's really critical to get that wood in there square and get the corner touched off. And so I think there's some pictures on here where it shows him doing that a little bit. We burn our stripes to kind of give it that aged look. And thank God for water-based stain, because we get a little bit of everywhere, but we do a lot of staining on these type of projects. And, eventually we got a little kind of a pop-up booth that we do spray painting. So we do a lot of spray painting. And we also incorporated the Cub Scouts. So each of the Cub Scouts in our group made their own flag. It was something unique for them. And we dabbled a little bit with the Pinewood Derby car. We didn't make the greatest Pinewood Derby cars on the CNC, but we gave it a shot. It made it to the end of the track.
Absolutely. Now I'm going to share with the folks some photos. Our main cover photo, ladies and gentlemen, when you see this video, when you saw this video on YouTube and on Facebook and everything, was Dylan at the CNC machine with the American flag. The Tim was nice enough to take some time out of his evening to jump on with us live and ask questions and everything. But we did have some people that actually submitted photos that kind of do business with their digital wood carvers, and it's really family kind of orientated for them. And the one that we have on the screen here, this is Travis Harrington. He is located not outside, but in Crawford, Indiana. And his business is Reclaimed by by Grace. I'm so sorry, Travis, if you're watching this. Reclaimed by Grace in Crawford, Indiana. And folks that are watching, take note of the name of these companies and everything, and definitely check out their look them up on Google, check out their websites or their Etsy's and things. But Travis has had his digital wood carver 2440 for about 3 years. Tim, you've got a DWC 2440 as well. About how long have you been an owner?
I got it right before COVID hit there. I fortunately got in with you in a show right before kind of everything broke out. And, I'm really lucky, but I got a chance to see it and demo and commit. So I guess we're 14 months or so, 14, 15 months now.
Yeah, very cool. And and me, I've been involved with digital wood carver since 2014. And it wasn't until late 2015 that I actually came on board as an employee and everything with them. What I did for a living prior to this, my full-time gig was a YouTube content creator. I actually taught woodworking online on YouTube for many years, and then I kind of transitioned. And so now I teach CNC machining on YouTube, but I actually work with the customers. And so if you ever get a chance, check out Travis Harrington and his wife's business. They make some beautiful things. And again, that's Reclaimed by Grace in Crawford, Indiana. This is Robert Burnside and Lida Dodd. I'm not sure exactly where they're located. I didn't get that information from them, but they have been customers for quite some time. And I don't know which one is the designer and which one's the actual carver. I think Robert does most of the carving and Lida jumps in on the designs and stuff, but they're holding one of their cribbage boards and things. Then we have MBM Creative. Now, MBM Creative, I'm going to go through some of their projects, and then we'll end up with Adam and his wife at the end. But they make some pretty cool, I want to call this a pizza spatula, but they also incorporate their CNC machine and their 6-watt digital laser for that particular project. Very simple. All of us, we do those very simple painted welcome signs or whatever the case may be. And they got that Canadian flag or leaf in there. I was really interested with their cribbage board here. They did kind of a river cribbage board where it was a wood and epoxy mix on their digital wood carver. And then clocks. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I teach live classes every Tuesday night. So if you're looking at getting in learning how to use the CNC and the design software, check out our Spindle TV channel every Tuesday night, and definitely something fun for all of the family. Here's another cribbage board by MBM. And this is Adam and his wife at their table. Now, I'm going to keep this picture up on the screen a little bit. And if you, let me make it just a little bit bigger for a second. When you go back and watch this video, ladies and gentlemen, go ahead and take your phone and point at that QR code, and it'll take you straight to their Etsy page. Their MBM Creative, they have a wonderful Etsy store and some pretty cool things. So I'm going to thank all of the folks that kind of dropped off some photos for us. We have a lot of people that watch and everything that have family involved in one way or another, Tim, just like yourself. Unfortunately, I would love to have someone helping me in the shop, but it's nice to have that extra set of hands when you need it and everything. Now, you have a daughter. We saw in your picture, Riley. She was also holding photos and everything. Is it just Dylan that mainly kind of gets involved with you, or do the other kids jump in every once in a while?
Well, you mentioned a little bit, my wife comes up with some of the crazy designs. We mentioned the welcome signs. I got so tired of making a welcome sign for every season that we hit a magnet in there. Now we just changed the center logo in there. And if you look closely, a lot of those little logos that we put on there are Disney. She's a big Disney creative. So she helps design and she paints them. And even my mother-in-law, she lives a few miles away, rides her bike over, and she'll paint. So they do a lot of painting and finishing and some of the initial design. We do most of the cutting and sanding and that fun stuff.
Awesome. Now, do you like we said that you got into this right before COVID and everything, and you make these projects. Other than word of mouth, do you have a site or an Etsy store or a Facebook marketplace or anything like that where you sell your products?
So we have just gone on Instagram, just Main Street 727, in highlighted my wife's Disney addiction. And we go through there and people contact us through that.
Yes.
But we did a couple of the local markets. But our goal was really to expand into Etsy, but we really haven't had the need to. We've been able to keep busy enough between horse farms here in Florida. We have a lot of farms, and we've done some of those outdoor signs with the 3D carving of horses and cattle and things like that. And then we've even gone in shipping product up to some of the cattle farms in Wisconsin and things like that.
Yeah, because you're in my neck of the woods. I'm in Ocala, Florida, and you're just south of me, not too far south and stuff. And we, up in Ocala, we have a lot of horse farms too. And those are great because, whether it's making signs for out front of the horse farms or signs for stables or, other things, that's a lot of word of mouth business for me and stuff in that area. So folks that are watching, when it comes to CNC, if you're new to this and it's something that may interest you and stuff, utilizing a CNC machine as well as the Vectric CAD/CAM design software that creates your designs and your tool paths that you would run on the machine, it's pretty user friendly. Not saying that everything is cakes and rainbows. There's mess ups and you can make firewood every once in a while. But for the most part, it's a very low learning curve. And the digital woodcarver customers, I can speak for all CNC companies out there, but we offer, around the clock support, 24 hours a day, 6 days a week. We offer training and we do live classes on our Spindle TV channel every Tuesday night. So if it's something that you are interested in learning more about and, something that, you want to get the kids involved with, the software is not too over the top to where, husbands, wives, brothers, sisters, sons, daughters, nieces, what have you, couldn't, learn. Tim, do any of your kids ever get involved with the software side of things?
Yes, a little bit. So, one of the things, my wife, of course, has one of the little vinyl cutters, and she plays on that software. And the software, she can save it in a manner that it opens up real easy, so we don't have to design matching things. So they go back and forth very well. And then, my son, he started to play a little bit. I more copy bitmaps and things like that off the internet. But we've designed a few things, just some common shelving and some Disney type signs that people have requested for us.
Yeah. And the relationship between, vinyl cutters, such as the silhouettes or the crickets and other items, their files are somewhat interchangeable because with the Vectric software, you can import DXF files, EPS, AI, SVG, and many of those file types can be cross-platformed from one machine to another, or one design to another, one design software to another, and things. So that makes it very useful. One of my best friends, she had a silhouette vinyl cutter. That's the word I was looking for. And, everything that, that she could create with vinyl, I could create in wood, and the files were easy to kind of transfer over, those EPS and DXF and things. Now, that ability to import in those files, ladies and gentlemen, it's not just those type of vector files. You can also import JPEGs, PNGs, bitmaps, GIFs, and TIFFs images, and the software has a trace function that will turn those images into vectors. There are certain images that are better than others. You definitely want high resolution and high quality and things, but it's fun, all around. And sometimes it could be frustrating, depending on the design and how much cleanup you've got to do. The chat area is open for anyone that happens to be joining us live and everything. And Brandon Wyckoff, thanks for joining in. Jerry Benton, I saw your post saying haven't used yours in a couple of years. Hopefully you get back to carving and everything. Life gets in the way sometimes when you don't get a chance and everything, but hopefully stay active. We have a couple, Ronnie Probert, one of my favorite followers. I don't know if he's with tonight. He might pop in a little bit later, but he and his wife, they're up in Canada, and I do training for a lot of our customers, and they do, they train together. So every time they call for their training, they're both on the phone and they're both learning together and all. Now, you said that, like the Boy Scouts, the Boy Scout clubs and things like that, are your kids involved with the Scouts? Is that how they got involved with making signs and stuff?
In Cub Scouts, I think kind of by default, being an Army guy, I got nominated as the den leader. And
Okay.
one of the criteria each year is learning about the flag, and then as they get older, to teach younger Scouts. And what better to learn than actually kind of count the stripes and measure it and learn the dimensions and how things are going. So we had them each make a flag last year. And then actually, I guess that was 2 years ago. And then last year around Halloween, the little kind of like pumpkin carvings that everybody does. They put the little lighted candle inside of it, right? Because the pumpkins don't last on here in Florida. They all made one. They all got to pick their own faces. There were some goofy faces that they all picked in there. But getting them to use a little bit of the tools as well as a little bit of the CNC.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the creative things that you said earlier was like, you got tired of making just plenty of welcome signs and everything, but having that one sign where you have the interchangeable seasons and stuff. That's one of the fun things. We have a young lady that's kind of down in your neck of the woods. She does art shops every weekend. She has a building that women come out and they have like art parties and design parties and paint parties and things like that. And I remember cutting some parts for a sign that it had maybe a rabbit for Easter or, a snowman for Santa Claus, and those were interchangeable and things. And that's pretty cool and creative. Now, in the picture that you shared, you had a big welcome sign. And of course, we know the DWC 2440 has a 24 by 40 inch carving area. And so in occasion that would require you to tile a design, right? You have to kind of move the board down and cut and things. Did you, at any point in time, of course, just getting, being in it within the last year and stuff, did you find that it was a struggle to get into, or was it a little bit of a nice learning curve for you? Or how was your transition into working with a CNC machine?
I think there's kind of two things with the CNC. The first part is, did I have the right equipment, as far as did I have to upgrade it as soon as I got it? And, to be honest, I've had it, I've run it I've had to replace the bushings on my router. They go, of course, but I haven't had anything else. The original tool pack that I got with it, most of those I still have, here and there I bought an extra bit or two. But the bits have lasted, the equipment, I haven't had to upgrade belts or make add-ons, and some of the things that you would see in other pieces of equipment. It's straight off the shelf. It's run great for us, and we've had no issues. And then the next was the learning curves. I think kind of worst case scenario, if I was uncomfortable, there are plenty of files that can be purchased off of Etsy for a couple dollars, and I could have just loaded those and run until I got a little comfortable. But I think I had just enough experience kind of understanding the Cricut and the vinyl cutters and things that I was able to step right in. And, once I got my first union made, started running that, and then I learned how to resize them pretty quick, and then went to wavy flags and cornhole boards and started copying over Disney pictures. So, all the weird Mickey shapes. And then eventually, once I got comfortable, I stepped into some of the 3D modeling where the horses and the cattle and some of that stuff that's kind of incorporated in the software already.
Absolutely. And see, and that is just how you described it. That's a great kind of stair-stepping transitions. A lot of people, one of the things is they'll get started. They may have very little or to low experience. and they're going to want to jump into 3D right away. And 3Ds is just a little bit more of a learning curve than your basic signs and your cutout shapes and designs and things like that. But it sounds like you did a nice, good progression. And plus having, like you said, the experiences working with the Cricut software and things like that, it was a little bit of an easier transition and all. And that's wonderful. For me, back when I got the wood carver, it was just burl. So there was no training besides burl, in what was it, 2014 and everything. And we started out with Bobcat, which had a very high learning curve before transitioning over to the Vectric and stuff. And so I was kind of self-taught, and I'm the type of person, and I try to preach this as much as crawl before you run. Getting familiar with the simple and easy things before you get into the advanced, because it's all going to come. Do you find yourself, like you said, your wife sometimes is the creative one. Do you have kind of is it just like a whim thing where it's like, oh, this would be cool to make, and you jump into different types of things, or do you kind of like, oh, let's stick with this, or we'll kind of just do this? And are you just all over the place with your designs and stuff when it comes to being creative? Because I used to be all over the place.
Yeah, early on, I would spend too much time on Etsy, and we would save 700 different projects, and we were going to try them. And then I kind of realized, flag's kind of our core business, and let's stick to what we can do and pump those out and only try one new thing at a time. Like we just tackled the 3D on the horse, and then we tackled a barbecue sign, and we did some PVC board. And, kind of tackle one thing at a time. Because when I first got it, I wanted to try a little bit of everything. And I probably watched a million YouTubes on how to make cutting boards. And I've made one cutting board with the, different equipment and things like that. It's just fascinating what people do. But you kind of settle into your niche. And, but yeah, all the time I get just somebody screenshot something they saw on Etsy and was like, can you do that? And you're like, yeah, sure, I can do that. And, off you go.
Well, down here in Florida, and it's probably, I guess cornhole is probably a popular game everywhere and everything, especially during the summertime and everything. Growing out in the forest, we always had cornhole board games and stuff everywhere. So those are fun projects to make. And cutting boards, for me, I started off with coasters, custom engraved coaster sets and boards. At first, it was just very simple cutting boards where I was using the CNC to make the juice groove. And then it transitioned into the doing actually inlays in the cutting boards. And now that I have a combination of the CNC and a 6-watt laser engraving, the cutting boards help, quite as well. Especially with, I have different businesses that they will buy from me, especially real estate offices and everything. Because they give gifts to their new home buyers, housewarming gifts and things. So I sell a lot of cutting boards and things like that to those type of companies and stuff. Thank you, Antonio Armand, for that comment. I appreciate you and everything. Guys and girls, I know it's a kind of just a common topic, and we're discussing family and everything. But if you have any questions, shout them out, and I'll be happy to answer them. It looks like the chat's a little quiet on this Wednesday night, Tim, it just depends on the topic and everything. Next month, we're going to be doing the demo, and we'll probably get quite a few views in on that to see the machine running and things. And people might get sick of seeing me on Tuesday nights every Tuesday, but we have a question from Kevin. Says, did you find you need to change the bits often on projects? And I'm assuming, Kevin, you're talking about bits wearing out besides bit changes, because there are bit changes of where you will carve with a V-bit or an end mill or a ball nose and things. But I think you're referring to, did you find you need to change bits often on projects as far as bits doling and things? And Tim, I don't know what that is how that is for you, but for me, that is, I'm still using the same bit set that I bought in 2015. I'm very conservative with my cutting and stuff. And I think you said you're still using some of the common bits that you initially got.
Correct. I've upgraded a 90-degree V-bit, which is fairly common for our stars. But otherwise, I still have the original bits. I did upgrade to some down cut bits for some of the do some of the thinner projects. But yeah, I still have those original bits. You know, in total, I probably only invested $100, $150 in bits in total.
Yeah, and I'm the same way. Now I went a little big after I the first few months of getting making the money back on the machine. The first thing I did is I bought an Amana 8-piece bit set that was $400, and it's the ZRN coded one, and it's still the same bits that I'm using today. I think I had to replace one bit because it was the 16th inch end mill that got broken. Now we're going to jump over again into a family photo, and this is John Johnson, and John Johnson's in the chat with us tonight. How you doing, John? This is him and his son Judah grandson Judah and his granddaughter. I want to say it's Cabri. John Johnson if I pronounced that wrong, I do apologize, but Cabri. And John made this. Let's see if I can get to the. I went the wrong direction, John. He made this dollhouse. And carving and everything with his digital wood carver. It looks like did a little bit of kind of brick carving and stuff, and on the staining, and then the windows and everything. And so, John, I appreciate you being in the group, in sending those photos out and everything. And that's a very cool looking dollhouse project for sure. I haven't gotten into making any kind of houses. Burl made those. He used to make these beautiful barns with little almost like picket fences with horse little toys and stuff. And I never really got to do that. I do make game boards, and you talked about a new game board that you were just getting into that you haven't heard of before, Tim. I make a lot of game boards and stuff from cribbage to aggravation, and the one that really throws me off is called it's a very simple game board. It's played with marbles. Bear with me. It's called all right, folks, that was my brain fart for the evening. We have I lost that one, so that happens from time to time. I will remember it in just a minute. What are some good projects to get young children participating in kids ages 8, 6, and 5? Now, one of the projects that I would say would be name puzzles that are easy to take, or puzzles in general. But name puzzles are basically where you pocket out letters or things, and then you cut out the male part that fits in there. So it's very simple project to do. It's a very simple project to design and lay out, so the kid could actually lay those out on the computers. But this day, 5, 6, and 8, they're pretty advanced by that age. So you could probably get into a few more. Tim, what would you say to that to answer that question? What's some good projects?
5 and 6. We saw a lot of kind of painting, spray painting, rattle can painting, and some clear coating. So sometimes it was kind of the router. I guess I have a regular router, not a spindle. It's a little loud, so that we got some earplugs, and they would watch and help unload it off of there. But for the most part, they were doing a lot of painting in stackable layers. So you might paint a rabbit with a white body, and then you got some pink ears and things like that stack up, and let them glue and assemble it together, somewhat like a puzzle. So we've had some fun with St. Patty's Day and things like that.
Absolutely. And that's great, because it gets them a little bit that, at that age, they can have some fun. They can get a little messy and stuff like that, and also create some creative things in the end. John Johnson's kids, they sound and helped him design the dollhouse and everything. I think it was Cabri that helped him with that design. And correct me on that one, John, if I'm on that or not correct on that. But Kevin says that it's an amazing dollhouse, so pretty cool on that. And Bruce, I even did a class on it on Tuesday. Let me know what class I did, John, or Bruce, because I do so many, I can't remember which one you're referring to. Now, John's oldest grandson designed his own clock, right? So clocks are pretty cool they're simple to lay out. So you can draw your circle and you can have your numbers or letters or whatever it may be. And it's easy to kind of transition that around. And what do you got there, Tim?
So in the interchangeable welcome sign, the O, we got some Mickey hands and a heart for our February one. And so you just you paint it in different colors, and then they kind of assemble and glue it together. I bury some magnets in there so they can just stick it on the welcome sign and off they go.
Absolutely. Now, do you just use a Forstner bit and put your magnets in, or do you let the CNC make the little pockets for the magnets? How far do you get involved with that?
I use simple. I don't want to be hand drilling anything anymore. I used to do it and have it, but now I just program it. A lot of the equipment on the back, we have the keyhole bit. That way they can hang on the wall a little bit easier than having to try to put a wire hanger or something like that on it, or a French cleat.
Absolutely. Now, Dylan's holding up the rabbit ears and everything. Now, what month is that for? The same kind of sign? Is that another one of those magnets?
It would be replace the O on the welcome for Easter. Awesome. I think we've got what do we got out there? A flower right now for springtime.
Spring. There you go. That's great. Now, the Bruce DeGarmo, his wife Tammy and his daughter Charlie helped design and carve celebrity signs. Weddings, birthdays, celebratory, not celebrity, celebratory signs, weddings, birthdays, graduations, etc. So, it's great to be able to get the family involved. We have another family down in the Bradenton area that it's a mother, son's wife, and I think the grandma even gets involved every once in a while. But it's a thing that everybody can kind of get around, because one, I personally think the CNC is one of the more safer tools in the shop versus table saws and other things like that. I don't want to get into that type of topic discussion or anything, but the only, as long as they stay within the boundary of the tables or they're not reaching their hands up to the router, it's a pretty safe machine to be around. Wear your dust mask, and have dust collection on and stuff like that. But I feel comfortable with kids when they come to my shop and stuff being around the machine and stuff. So there are restrictions and things like that. No horseplay in the shop and things like that. Around the machinery, because that could lead to accidents and all. But I think pretty much would you agree with that, Tim? It's fun to have them in the shop and working and all, but there's probably some guidelines that they need to follow, right? And they're not on a wall or anything, but they just know, right?
Correct. This is a medium speed CNC, so we're not moving 400 inches a minute. That if you're in the way of it, it's gonna do anything. But we do have to keep restriction around it to make sure that we don't bump into it or anything while it's running. But the kind of the noise also gives it kind of a warning, right? You always got to keep your space from something that's kind of loud. But it's easy for us to be in our garage and watch some TV and let it run. Occasionally when we do pocket cuts, things might last an hour, hour and a half. For us, we don't usually do huge pocket cuts. I know some of you have done half a day pocket cuts and things like that.
Yeah. Now, Dylan, you're holding that duck there. Is that also a seasonal sign thing, or is that just a puzzle piece part?
Just awesome. A puzzle piece, yes.
Nice, very good. I have an elephant puzzle. I should have brought some of my projects over to show off, but elephant puzzles, and I think someone in the Digital Woodcarver owner group, Tim, is trying to talk me into doing a nativity scene puzzle. Somebody posted a picture of that.
But that's always a good thing. I also one of the guys that's local here talks to me, but one time I just had a switch backwards and X went plus and negative were opposite. And there's always somebody there that's going to help you. Oops, I forgot to turn the switch on or something minor like that. It's just a good community, not to mention, like Burl mentioned, the family outside the family. Our family in here is doing it, but every once in a while, the family from Facebook and Digital Woodcarver does help quite a bit to support each other.
Sure. Yeah. And what Tim is referring to, everyone, is the Digital Woodcarver Owners Group on Facebook. It's a private community for the owners where they can help answer questions for one another, encourage and support one another, answer questions. They share project files in there for people to download and make. And we try our best to keep it an encouraging group and very kind of family oriented, where there's no discouraging, down talking or any negativity in there for the, I think I've done a pretty good job of keeping an eye on that, but everybody is really helping, lift people up and helping them move forward when they run into obstacles and issues and just have, general questions where they might not be able to reach out to myself or Burl or anybody else at Digital Woodcarver. They can ask in the group, and the group is, pretty eager to jump in and answer questions and stuff and things. And so thanks for mentioning that, Tim, because it is that family outside of family, because it's nice to have that community around you when it comes to something that you're going to try that's new and you're really not sure what to do or how to approach it, to have words of encouragement, to have advice or information come into you. That's what I hope that people get out of the group when they join after becoming a new customer and stuff. And hopefully you got some of that for yourself over this, period that you've been a customer as well, and everything. And you were saying, I'm sorry, Bruce was saying that his wife and daughter, they help keep him focused so he makes fewer pieces of firewood. So now, one of the things you said when you were talking about doing pocket cuts, and some could take a short time or a long time, have you gotten to the comfort level of yourself to where if there's a long carving to do, that you won't sit there and watch the machine, that you'll go on and do other things, and you might have other projects that you're finishing up, or you might be in the house eating dinner or whatever the case may be? Or are you still like auto focused on everything that machine is doing?
No, I have been comfortable with leaving it. We talked about broken bits. I've never broken a bit. I guess that would be one that it would keep going and you won't have a finished product. But
Right.
I've not had any of those issues. Again, I'm not super aggressive in my speeds. I just kind of go with what's stock, and really haven't had any issues. I've had a part come loose because I didn't clamp it correctly. But again, it doesn't do much besides kind of scrap up the piece of wood that you had. And if you go into a lesson learned, some of that firewood that they mentioned there. But the equipment, once it's set up, it does what it's designed to do. I haven't tried to have any issues where I thought it was going to do this and it did something completely different.
Right, and that can happen. Board could be clamped in in the wrong orientation of the machine, carves in a different direction than the board is facing, or a bit could break if you were going too aggressive. I'm like you. I'm the one that created those setting files for the Digital Woodcarver tool library, and they're conservative. They're very apt for a lot of different materials and things, so that I'm very comfortable with leaving my machine and just keeping an eye on it. The only time and that I do not leave the machine is when I'm running the laser. When the router's running, I'm very comfortable. I can come in the house and eat or do whatever I have to do, or be working in the shop while that machine is running. But laser, I'm very attentive of what's going on, because that is burning wood. And I would recommend anybody that has a Digital Woodcarver and you have a laser engraver, that yes, you have a comfort level with your machine and you trust your machine and all, but always stay on top of that laser. You don't have to eyeball it and watch it tremendously, but keep an eye on it, because you are burning wood, right? And we have had those unfortunate circumstances where that wood will flame up because it's dried out and stuff like that. So be careful with the laser. Ladies and gentlemen, in the last 15 minutes of our sessions tonight, we're going to end at 8 o'clock. If you have any more questions that you have, or if you want to throw out anything else, definitely let us know. But one of the things that I want to say to you all, because I always have to kind of talk about Digital Woodcarver and the machine, we have different levels or different size machines to fit your environment or your needs, starting from our mini carver, 18 by 24 mini carver, moving up to our DWC 2040, and then into our larger 4x4 up to a 4x8 commercial line unit. And we have, customers that may have multiple machines. They may have a MIG carver and a 2440, or they might trade in. But we do have that opportunity where a customer can grow a digital wood carver. They could trade their machine up to a bigger unit if they ever needed to and things. If you are ever considering a digital wood carver, and whether you have lots of experience in the wood shop and with a CNC or very little experience, definitely keep us in mind as your potential vendor to purchase from, because we do make sure that our customers are well cared for with training and support, and being available to them. And then also having the customers are great as well. So keep us in your thoughts if you're ever looking to buy a digital wood carver. And Tim, I want to thank you for being a customer, of course, and joining us tonight, taking time out of your day, because I think you have one of the kids is at softball and stuff like that. And instead of being at the game, you're here with me. So, man, I appreciate that. And tell her I'm sorry for taking her dad away. But
yeah, they're just walking in the door right now. So.
Oh yeah, well, I hope they have smiles on their faces because the game went well. Because they could go either way when they walk in the door. Is that true? They could win or lose. But nobody really. It's all good. Last thing that I want to say is, Tim, are folks, if someone is actually watching and they're looking for carvings of different types, are people able to reach out to you to order stuff? Or you stay within kind of your community and your word of mouth? Do you welcome outside a business, or do you want to kind of keep it reined in?
No, it's always fun to get new business and see what's on there. We've shipped flags all over the U.S. I used to be in the military, so I have friends all over the world, and we've shipped a lot of flags that way. So every once in a while, under Main Street 727 at Gmail or our Etsy page, we get requests. And I think the funnest requests are one of those ones that nobody's really making, and they say, "Hey, I have that idea," and it's kind of fun to challenge, because it is a unique machine that can make a lot of different things. We try most things and say, "Oh yeah, we can't quite make that, but we can make this," and usually gets a happy customer out of it.
Well, that's cool. That's great. Yeah, I, aside from the markets and everything, I haven't really put up a website yet. I have Spindle TV and everything, but where I do training and all. But most of mine was local business and word of mouth. And then, of course, I would post a picture on Facebook or something. And my mother, talking about family getting involved, she has a big cooking channel on Facebook with over, I think, 118,000 followers. And so she would post one of my pictures up there. And then, of course, all of her followers would order and stuff, and I would get orders that way. And that was a nice way to drum up business. But I'm open to, out and about. And it's cool to see that you because you have a full-time job besides this. Is that
correct? Yes, I'm in manufacturing dental equipment, so do that, right. And work in the evenings and the weekends and things. And my wife does work from home, so when we do have those long cuts, we can at least get her to do a tool change or whatever in the middle of the day. So that helps us while Dylan's at school.
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, that's great. And so, the being able to, do that part-time and still kind of grow things, it becomes in a way a nice way to supplement income every once in a while. Right. And that's what it was for me. It was a way to supplement my YouTube income with the sales they did on the weekends and things. And that's one of the reasons why I started searching for a digital wood carver to begin with. So the leading into that and the whole lead into that was whether you're looking for a way to make income, whether it's supplementing your current income, creating or generating an income, or just doing it as a hobby, whatever your desire is. CNC is a very good way to kind of get into. You can start off small with smaller units and things and make some very cool projects, give them away to family, and then you could sell them and make a little income. But it for me did exactly what I was hoping it would do, and hopefully for you in a way, Tim, as well. It supplemented my income, my sales and stuff like that, and it became a very, I don't want to say extremely vital part of my income, but it was an important part, and it still is. Like you had alluded to, that your initial interest in CNC, was it because kind of the family was interested in it, or something occurred? You're like, hey, I'm going to buy one of these.
Yeah, Dylan really wanted some money, and I, wanted to give him a chance to kind of earn the money and and learn. We all need a little bit of business skills, and we are raising them to be adults at some point, right? And sure. So we decided we were going to make flags and tried to make them completely by hand with the old Dremel tool. And the quality of the Dremel tool and the hours and hours and hours of labor it took, didn't compete with what the CNC could do. And so instead of, our initial thought was we'll sell flags until we can afford a CNC. But then we kind of did the return on the investment and realized, if we do 2 or 3 flags a month, it makes the payment on it, and off we go. And
there you go.
It's been a good for us.
Yeah, exactly. And, so whatever folks that are watching, whatever, decision leads you to this way, or leads you to even watching us tonight to learn more about it. It is something that you could get the family involved with. It could be something you could do solo, but it's fun for all ages, and you're never too old to learn. I've got some wonderful folks that are retired, and they needed a way to supplement their retirement income, and they're cranking out some beautiful projects. John Johnston, I think, John, you might still be working if you're still watching us. Are you still working, or are you retired? Let me know in the chat area. But it's a great way to supplement. And I'm hoping that for me, I maintain my digital wood carver well running and oiled, because I want it to last for a very long time. Because as I get older, I want a way to create a little bit of that savings in that retirement. Because work for yourself, it's a little hard. You don't have 401ks, you don't have other things like that. So having that side hustle or side business, and for me, it's my full-time business, it really helps. And so if you're looking and you're like, man, I've been wondering what to do. We've got craft shows, there's farmers markets, there's flea markets, there's word of mouth, there's all kinds of ways to advertise, Facebook Marketplace, Instagram, Etsy, and things like that to promote or sell your products. But be sure to check out those. And I would like to go over to one more time on a photo here. And this is Bobby Dunlap, Homes on a Limb. And Bobby owns a beautiful storefront. Burl and I are setting up a live event coming up in the very near future, ladies and gentlemen, where Burl will be at Bobby's shop, and I'm going to be at Joe Albrecht's shop down in Bradenton, and we're going to be talking about them from their storefronts and things. But Bobby, thanks for throwing in your photo and everything. And those are some pretty cool signs that you got there in that photo. But I look forward to when you just join Burl and I and Joe at our storefront. So we're going to, Tim, we're actually going to be out there in person. We're going to go out to their shops and set up camera and kind of see what they're making stuff. Bobby's a great guy. He's up right down the road from Burl, and he helps out Burl with some beta testing on some equipment and stuff as well. Well, we're getting ready to wrap up here, ladies and gentlemen. Tim, not to put you on the spot or anything like that, but is for anyone that might be looking to get family involved or things like that, would you have any advice that you would want to throw out? Just something that's maybe a word of wisdom that you've learned from your CNC journey?
I think one of the things that, I think I just made the right decision with getting with the digital wood carver. I follow a lot of the other entry-level CNC jobs, and, people don't have kind of the teaching or the coaching or maybe not even the right software that came with their type of machine. And, this kind of gave me the total package. So I didn't have to to piecemeal it and teach myself and watch a million YouTubes. I just watched on Tuesdays and off I went. And then, like we talked about earlier, getting the family involved is really just start with some easy projects, kind of get them down, and then, work into the more difficult. We don't, there is a fourth axis. I haven't even made it to that yet. But sometime in the future, maybe I'll make it to the fourth axis. But, move it slowly and, pick something like a flag or a welcome sign and, knock it out of the park, and you'll have raving fans.
Absolutely. And I wanted to lean back to Alex's question about getting involved. And one of the things that I wanted to mention with that question was games, little game boards, whether it be aggravation games or tic-tac-toe, or if you've ever been to a Cracker Barrel, you've seen those little peg puzzles and things like that. Those fun little toys and games, not toys, or the games, but toys too. But those are great entry-level projects. They could be advanced as well too, but good entry-level projects that are easy to lay out and design in the software. And then, of course, come over and carve those pieces and all. So, Alex, I wanted to circle back to that question and let you know, besides, puzzles and simple signs, games, game boards are fun to make, cribbage boards and things like that. Very, just something that kind of is interesting for them to lay out and kind of keeps their attention, right? And then they can play with it when they're done.
Yeah, with those, once you have them designed, I think what makes it unique is you can put their last name on it. You can put their, their first name or something unique to that individual. So it's not just, you're not competing against the one that they might be able to buy from the big box store. It's unique to them. And all you really had to do was change the font and, the name on it. I have a barbecue sign I make. It says Tim's, but I can make it Joe's or John's or whatever like that. Once you kind of design it, once you just have to change some of that stuff to customize it.
Exactly, which leads back to those celebratory signs. You may have a custom, let's say, wedding sign or graduation sign that's really got a cool layout, but really the only thing that you're changing is the person's name, graduation date, or wedding date, and so that makes it easy as well to, you can almost have that template of a design and where you're just changing just a few simple things. And you're absolutely right, Tim, it gives it a chance to customize and make it unique for that person. It makes it special for them because it has their name on it. It has their, wedding date or whatever it may be. It has, something for them. I have customers that they're the creative input. They're telling me what they would love to have. And for me to be able to turn their ideas into a reality, that's what makes it so cool with a CNC. All right, everybody. The last thing that I want to jump in here is Bruce threw up a comment. Said Charlie had to do a CNC project for a beginning construction tech class, and they used VCarve. And where others were lost, we were able to walk right through the design and carve at home during the reduced classes and everything. And I think he was throwing that comment up, Tim, to kind of relate to what you were saying about, with the digital wood carver, you did have some kind of support or ways to learn, like the Tuesday classes and things like that. And I appreciate you saying that. That's great because I hope people get something out of Tuesday classes and everything. But like I said, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to wrap now. I want to thank you for joining us. And Tim, thank you. Dylan, thanks for hanging out with us today. If you're ever interested in getting a CNC machine or you're looking for the right CNC machine for you, please give Digital Wood Carver consideration. Look us up on Google. Go to digitalwoodcarver.com. Check us out on Facebook and Instagram as well. And just do your homework, do your research. If you're going to shop around, ask those hard-hitting questions. How about the training? Do they offer training? Is it paid? Is it free training? What is their support and what are their hours for support and things like that? You want to get the best bang for your buck. I want to say that Digital Wood Carver would be the best bang for your buck, but it varies from person to person. But please keep us in mind, and thanks for joining us tonight. Tim, thank you for joining us tonight, and enjoy the rest of your evening with the family. And until next week, everybody. On Tuesday, we'll see you at Spindle TV. Until next month, we'll see you with the 2440 demo. Y'all have a good night. Thank you.
Take care.